Here we go. Get ready. Pamela Geller's advice is to stop apologizing and to start carpet bombing. Bernie Sanders praises Vermont towns for challenging the Citizens United ruling. How to fund an American police state. A Michigan man sues movie theater over expensive popcorn and treats. 6 more congressmen are demanding that Attorney General Eric Holder resign. And troops are beginning to refuse to follow unlawful orders. My name's HOWARDRIELL, and this is Real Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com, and on Facebook and on YouTube, and in the book Real Truth, Stay Angry. And of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. Our caller number, 877-254-7524. Item from Pam Geller writing at her website, Atlas Shrugs. She writes, I turned my laser on Obama's metastasizing foreign policy failure in my column this week at WorldNet Daily. Stop apologizing and start carpet bombing. We apologize, they kill. We apologize again, and they kill some more. A Quran is burned in Afghanistan, a Quran that was used to transmit plots against our troops, and Obama is apologizing. And our generals are apologizing. And the Pentagon is apologizing. America, where are you on this? Obama apologizes, they burn him in effigy. Brilliant, Obama, brilliant. And the band plays on. On Saturday, an Afghan policeman murdered a U.S. colonel and major in a highly secure compound in the Afghan Interior Ministry in Kabul because of the burning of a copy of the Quran at Bagram Airfield. Both were shot in the head, execution style. This is how Taliban spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid responded to Obama's apology. Quote, we should not be satisfied with mere protests and empty slogans, but the military bases of the invaders, their military convoys, and their troops should become a target of our courageous attacks. Kill them, beat them, take them as prisoners, and teach them such a lesson that they never summon the courage to abuse the Holy Quran again, unquote. This is who Obama is chasing as a peace partner. They laugh at our clowning chief while slaughtering with impunity. It was stomach-churning to watch the video of U.S. 4-star General John Allen groveling for forgiveness to jihadis for mishandling, quote-unquote, extremist materials. American leadership must stop apologizing to these barbarians. What part of surrender do we not understand? A United States general, no spawn of Patton, dares to apologize for what? For disrespecting the Sharia? A U.S. general is apologizing to church burners, slaughterers of non-Muslims, honor killers, etc.? The fish stinks from the head down, and this is Obama's foreign policy. Is it any wonder that jihadist attempts in this country have skyrocketed under his presidency? And what is he on his belly for? Why would civilized men apologize for destroying materials that were being used to send jihadist messages to kill our soldiers and our citizens? This is madness. Where are Muslim apologies for 1,400 years of jihadi wars, land appropriations, cultural annihilations, and enslavements? Where are their apologies for the relentless jihad warfare against the Jews, the Hindus, Christians, and all non-Muslims? Where are the apologies for 9/11, 7/7, 3/11, the U.S. Cole, the Kobar Towers, Beslan, and Bosnia? America does not apologize to savages and cannibals and ghouls. Stop apologizing and start carpet bombing. Defeat jihad. What's it going to take? Stop apologizing to these savages and start fighting. As an American, I do not apologize. I withdraw Obama's apology. I withdraw General Allen's apology. I condemn their apologies. I do not submit to a culture that suffocates ideas, critical thinking, women, non-Muslims. I do not apologize that the United States of America is the greatest, noblest, and in its original founding principles, the only moral country in the history of the world. As Ayn Rand noted, quote, it took centuries of intellectual, philosophical development to achieve political freedom. It was a long struggle stretching from Aristotle to John Locke to the Founding Fathers. The system they established was not based on unlimited majority rule, but on the opposite, on individual rights which are not to be alienated by majority vote or minority plotting. The individual was not left at the mercy of his neighbors or his leaders. The constitutional system of checks and balances was scientifically devised to protect him from both. This was the great American achievement, and if concern for the actual welfare of other nations were our present leaders' motives, this is what we should have been teaching the world, unquote. My friends, I absolutely love Pam Geller. She pulls no punches, she sees the truth, she tells the truth. Here's my question: where the hell are the rest of us, or the most of us, who cannot seem to hear or understand the truth? That's the part that defeats me. Item from the website Amped Status. One of the key ingredients in a democracy is the right to freely speak our minds to those who represent us. In fact, it's one of the few effective tools we have left to combat government corruption and demand accountability. But now even that right is being chipped away by statutes and court rulings which weaken our ability to speak freely. Activities which were once considered a major component of democratic life in America are now being criminalized. Making matters worse, politicians have gone to great lengths in recent years to evade their contractual, constitutional duty to make themselves available to us and hear our grievances. This is what representative government is all about. Unfortunately, with gas prices rising, the economy tanking, the increasingly unpopular war effort dragging on, and public approval of Congress at an all-time low, members of Congress have been working hard to keep their unhappy constituents at a distance, avoiding town hall meetings, making minimal public appearances while at home in their districts, only appearing at events in controlled settings where they're the only one talking, and if they must interact with constituents, doing so via telephone town meetings or impromptu visits to local businesses where the chances of being accosted by angry voters are greatly minimized. Consider that in the summer of 2011, 60% of Congress refused to hold town hall meetings with their constituents during their summer break. The ones who did often charged a fee for attendance. For example, Representative Paul Ryan charged $15 per person for his public appearance, and Representative Dan Quayle charged $35 per person. Now, in a self-serving move aimed at more than insulting government officials and discontent voters than protecting their hides, Congress has overwhelmingly approved legislation that will keep the public not just at arm's length distance, but a football field away by making it a federal crime to protest or assemble in the vicinity of protected government officials, unquote. We'll be back.
If catastrophe struck, would your family be prepared?
People wonder why I yell when I'm on the air. Listen to this. Elected officials are passing laws to keep us far away from them and to minimize contact and minimize the chance we have to ask them questions. What the hell country is this? Would you want to live in a country that did that? Well, surprise, you do. That pisses me off. I hope it pisses you off. I'm going to play a video of this from the Rutherford Institute. Obviously, you won't be able to see it. People of the radio audience, but you'll be able to hear it. I'll be right back.
Chrome, hydraulics, and combustion. But when you look at these things and find inspiration, when you put them together with passion and integrity, then engineering comes to life. Cold sheet metal develops a soul, and pride, sweat, and commitment turn a truck into something more. A Ram truck. Ram heavy duty. Ram 1500. The outdoorsman. And the most luxurious truck ever. The Rowdy Longhorn. They're not just trucks. They're Ram trucks. Guts. Glory. Ram.
Ram is a registered trademark of Chrysler Group, LLC.
Anybody know what guts, glory, and ram means? I don't. There we go. And welcome back to Real Truth, my friends. The Rutherford Institute has a number of articles and videos on its website well worth visiting. Right now, a little bit of a departure. John Whitehead's going to be talking about the horror, must-see war films Films that will remind us exactly how grisly and terrible war is, and therefore maybe a little less apt to go to war when we don't need to. Let's see if the technology gods are on my side today. Let's try and play this thing.
War is a greatly different. It's been estimated that about 231 million people lost their lives during the 20th century in wars. In my opinion, war is going to be our undoing. We haven't listened to what Dwight Eisenhower told us as he began our office in the early 1960s in his famous farewell address, where he says he was troubled by the erection of the military-industrial complex, which would make a lot of money off of war and would threaten our democracy. But that's happening, folks. In the words of Pulitzer Prize-winning author and journalist and former war correspondent Chris Hayes, war is like a poison. Just as a cancer patient must at times ingest a poison to fight off a disease, so there are times in a society when we must ingest the poison of war to survive. But what we must understand is that just as the disease can kill us, so can the poison. If we don't understand what war is, how it perverts us, how it corrupts us, how it dehumanizes us, how it openly invites us to our own self-annihilation, then we can become the victim of war itself. War is also entertainment. Since the invention of film, there have been a lot of war movies. It's difficult for film to portray war as it really is, because war is something that when you experience it, as I've talked to many veterans, and I myself served in the Army, know that war is a terrible business. However, I've chosen 12 films that I think you should see. They really illustrate what war is all about, its self-defeating purpose, and it's something you should study, because I don't think today there's a more important subject than how to view war and how we're going to solve the business of killing other people. The film name was made in 1949. It's Carol Reed's film, which deals primarily with the after effects of the ravages of war. It's a great film by anyone's standards. It's set in post-war Europe. It's a bleak film. It sets forth the proposition that the corruption inherent in humanity means that the ranks of war are never closed. Paths of Glory, made in 1957, I think this is one of Stanley Kubrick's finest films. It's a great anti-war masterpiece. It's set in the year of 1916. Within 2 years of trench warfare, and the enemies have arrived in a stalemate. While nothing of importance is occurring in the war, thousands of lives are being lost. And what we have here is the masters of war pull the puppet strings, and the blood continues to flow. The Manchurian Candidate, made in 1962, John Frankenheimer, the director, focuses on the psychological effects of war and its transmutation into mind control and political assassination. All the lines of intrigue converge to form a prophetic vision of what occurred the year after the film's release with the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, made in 1964, is one of the great films of all time. It's a Stanley Kubrick film, and it burst onto the cinematic landscape and cast a cynical eye on the entire business of war. It's a strange and surreal film, and it's packed full of amazing and great performances. MASH, made in 1970, this is one of Robert Altman's best and most influential films, as can be seen in the popular spin-off television series in the same way. Everyone knows the story of this group of misfit American doctors during the Korean War. The Deer Hunter, made in 1978, it's an Academy Award-winning film, and it's one of the most emotion-evoking films ever made. It's a story of a group of Pennsylvania steel workers who endured excruciating ordeals in Vietnam. And this film makes one point clear: war is the horror of all horrors. Apocalypse Now, made in 1979. I consider this Francis Ford Coppola's best film. Based on Joseph Conrad's novella, The Heart of Darkness, Captain Willard, played by Martin Sheen, treks to the Cambodian jungle to assassinate renegade maniac Colonel Kurtz, played by Marlon Brando. This anti-war epic is a great visual experience with fine performances. The Two, made in 1986. This is not Oliver Stone's best film, but it's one hell of a war movie. Set before and during the Tet Offensive in January 1968, this is a gritty view of Vietnam by one who served there and knew what was happening. Vietnam is a wet place for bugs, leeches, and snakes, but not for people. Full Metal Jacket, 1987. Stanley Kubrick's take on Vietnam is one of the most powerful and psychological dramas ever made. Focusing on the schizophrenic nature of the human psyche, the reality of man, Kubrick takes us through a hell-like Paris island boot camp into the bowels of surreal Vietnam through the eyes of Joker, played by Matthew Modine. Jacob's Ladder. Adrian Young's thriller hits the psyche like a thunderbolt. A man struggles with what he saw while in Vietnam. Back home, he gradually becomes unable to separate reality from the surreal, psychotic world that intermittently intervenes into his existence. This bizarre film touches on the sordid nature of war and the corruption of those who manipulate and experiment us while we fight on their behalf. Saving Private Ryan, the invasion sequence, made in 1998. The long, ugly sequence of this film is unlike anything in any other Hollywood depiction of war. It's 25 minutes of more incomprehensible chaos and mutilation. Many veterans have stated that it's the most accurate recreation of an amphibious assault. Jarhead, May 2005. This film follows a Marine recruit through Marine boot camp to service in Operation Desert Storm, winding up at the highway of death. But what director Sam Mendes serves up is war as a faded obsession in the Oregon sands of Kuwait and Iraq. Here soldiers fight not for causes, but to survive in a nihilistic pursuit of destruction. As these films illustrate war as hell, with each passing moment by, I think we're passing the point of no return. There have been some great people throughout history who have told us that war will finally do us it will destroy us as a country. One was Martin Luther King. In his famous speech of April 4, 1967 at the Riverside Church in New York, this is what Martin Luther King had to say. King declared that the only solution is an all-embracing and unconditional love for all mankind. He maintained that we can no longer afford to worship the God of hate or bow down before the altar of retaliation. The oceans of history are made turbulent by the ever-rising tides of hate. And history is plagued with the wreckage of nations and individuals that pursue the self-defeating path of hate. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Martin Luther King was right. I think it's time to listen, or it will be too late.
Well, my friends, with respect, I do not believe Dr. Martin Luther King was right. It's okay to be nonviolent when no one wants to be violent against you. When there are people who want to commit acts of violence against you, you had better not be nonviolent, or you're going to end up either with cleat marks on the back of your neck or you're altogether dead. There are enough people in this world who want to kill us in America and Europeans and Israelis, enough people who want to commit acts of violence that we cannot afford the luxury of being pacifists. That said, I think you should watch those war movies that will impress upon us exactly how horrible and terrible war actually is, and then we'll think twice before simply saying, well, yeah, send some troops there. Ain't that easy. Item from Raw Story. Independent Senator Bernie Sanders applauds towns in his state of Vermont that called for a constitutional amendment to overturn the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission on Tuesday. By Tuesday evening, 23 towns had called on Vermont legislators and the state's congressional delegation to overturn the controversial ruling, which prohibited the government from placing limits on corporations' independent political spending. As many as 60 towns are expected to weigh in tonight. The people of Vermont have seen the huge campaign contributions being made by billionaires and large corporations because of Citizens United, and they understand how horrendous this is for the future of American democracy, Sanders said. Vermont is helping to lead the nation in this important issue. Real people across the state stood up today to protect our democracy. I'm very proud of what they have done. The Citizens United ruling gave rise to super PACs, officially known as Independent Expenditure-Only Committees, which can raise an unlimited amount of money to influence federal elections as long as they do not directly coordinate with a candidate's campaign. Unquote. My friends, we need to get the money out of politics. Does this, maybe it is Pollyanna-ish to think that we actually can get money out of politics, because that's why people go into politics in the first place. Money, power, ego, influence. You take the money out of politics, is it the same politics, the same country? I don't know. Maybe they are inextricably linked, but we have got to get the money out of politics. Item via Fox News in Houston, Texas. Parents say a police canine unit dog attacked their 15-year-old son while officers stood by joking and laughing about the incident. Chris Garcia, who could barely move, showed Fox 26 News the dog scratches and bite marks along the left side of his body. The dog is biting me. I'm over here showing my hands and they're still letting the dog bite me, said Garcia. This after officers with the Houston police force say the teen drove away from them in a stolen vehicle. Garcia admits he's never been in trouble with the law, and that's why he acted out of fear. And added, I got nervous. I got out of the car and I took off running, and my friends took off the other way, unquote. My friends, it's a bad situation, but I'll tell you one thing, all over the country's cops are a little too eager to use violence like attack dogs and tasers and their clubs and pepper spray. Too eager. Item from Information Liberation, Stephen Salisbury reporting. At the height of the Occupy Wall Street evictions, it seemed as though some diminutive version of shock and awe had stumbled from Baghdad, Iran to Oakland, California. American police forces had been militarized, many commentators worry, as though the firepower and callous tactics on display were anomalies, surprises bursting upon us from nowhere. There should have been no surprise. Those flash grenades exploding in Oakland and the sound cannons on New York streets simply opened small windows onto a national policy landscape long in the process of militarization. A bleak domestic no man's land marked by tanks and drones, robot bomb detectors, grenade launchers, tasers, and most of all, interlinked video surveillance cameras and information databases growing quietly on unobtrusive server farms everywhere. My friends, we have no more secrecy, no more privacy left. That's the upshot. And it's a situation that can be reversed. We've just got to get the powers that be in a hammerlock and force them to reverse it. They must. Item also from Information Liberation. The district attorney investigated the beating and found the police committed no wrongdoing. This is from the Union Leader, Concord, Massachusetts. A Manchester man injured when arrested by 4 off-duty Manchester police officers outside a downtown bar 2 years ago today has filed suit, alleging police violated his federal civil rights when they beat him, causing injuries so severe he now has metal plates in his face. In a lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court in January, Christopher Niklovich says only 2 people interviewed by police in the Attorney General's office out of a combined total of 30 witnesses had no connection to him, the police department, or the Strange Brew Tavern where the March 3, 2010 incident happened. The 2 witnesses, a cab driver Christopher Wade and bar patron Aaron Maul, who had stepped outside to have a cigarette, both corroborated Niklovich's account and told investigators they thought the officers were going to kill them, according to the lawsuit, unquote. Lovely. It's not bad enough that we've got malefactors in the world. We've got to have the police doing bad things also. You know what I think should be done with those police, my friends. Enough said. Item from CNBC.com. Stocks closed sharply lower Tuesday, with the Den posting its first triple-digit decline in 2012, fueled by fears over the Greek default and amid economic growth concerns. The Dow Jones increased industrial average dropped 203.66 points, or 1.7%, to close at 12,759.15, logging its biggest decline since November 23rd, unquote. My friends, this house of cards was intended to come down, and now it's coming down, and it's taking us with it, and I don't like it. Item from the Daily Caller. 6 more U.S. congressmen have demanded Attorney General Eric Holder's leave his post this week in the wake of Operation Fast and Furious. Furious, bringing the number of U.S. House members pushing for change in Justice Department leadership to 109. My folks used to do if someone was on a PT boat, say, he became a hero and got elected to office. Well, Eric Holder is working against the interests of the United States. He's working for the drug cartels. He's working for Obama and his handlers. It's a bad situation. Malacopters in high places and bringing America low. We'll be right back. Malefactors. That's what I mean.
United States Constitution.
Next thing we're going to look at is another video.
Visit American527.org to help defend America from her enemies.
Which video do I want to play?
We believe in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence. We believe in liberty.
Well, listen to Ron Paul a little bit when we come back.
Liberty alive. Work with America527.org to save liberty and America.
Alright, we're going to play that video when we come back. I'm going to tone it down a little bit. Let's see.
Thank you very much for that. He makes the
Alright, that's Ron Paul. We'll be listening to him when we come back.
Stands forever.
I'll be like that myself.
To all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 through 12.
If drinking the purest natural artesian water is important to you, then thirst no longer. Fountain of Health, the nation's best natural pure water source located south of Brighton, is tested monthly and free from any surface water contamination. Fountain of Health provides refreshing natural artesian water from the lower Arapahoe aquifer. Bring your sterilized container or buy them at Fountain of Health, 13185 Brighton Road. That's 13185 Brighton Road. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Check them out at www.fountainofhealth.cc.
An emergency preparedness plan for your home, car, school, and office is a must. Knowing how to store water safely, survive extreme temperature changes, provide reliable shelter, first aid, and sanitation is critical. Knowing where to get the best lights, radios, and other supplies is easy. Fast Survival, located at 3366 South Broadway, is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing realistic preparedness supplies at affordable prices. Stop by, go online, or call 303-781-0343, 866-781-0343.
To some, a truck is just a vehicle, nothing more. Steel, chrome, hydraulics, and combustion. But when you look at these things and find inspiration, when you put them together with passion and integrity, then engineering comes to life. Cold sheet metal develops a soul. Blood, sweat, and commitment turn a truck into something more. A Ram truck. Ram heavy duty. 1500. The outdoorsman. And the most luxurious truck ever. The Laramie Longhorn. They're not just trucks. They're Ram trucks. Guts. Glory. Ram.
Ram is a registered trademark of Chrysler.
There it is again. Guts, glory, Ram. They must pay some guy a lot of money to come up with that. It eludes me, however. Catchy music. And welcome back to Real Truth, my friends. I am videotaping today's episode. I'm going to put it out on YouTube. Look for it. Get a chance to see my face. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But it's a fact, and I should be putting it out there sometime in the next couple of hours. Right now, Ron Paul's speech in North Dakota yesterday, Super Tuesday. Let's hear just a few minutes of what Dr. Paul has to say.
Thank you very much for that very nice reception. Is everybody going to vote tonight? Are we going to win? We always win, right? The cause of liberty is on a roll, let me tell you that. This country is ready and raring, and tonight we are going to send a very loud message to the rest of the country. And I'll tell you what, I've said so many times, the American people are way ahead of Washington. Washington is sound asleep. We're on the right track, so make sure they hear our message all the way to D.C. And that message is not complex. Most people in this country realize that we're having problems. Like, we spend too much money now and then, and we borrow too much money now and then. The government grows, and by leaps and bounds. But one of the things that they have done over these last 100 years that has been very detrimental, especially in the last 4 years, is they want government to grow endlessly. We don't have the money. They run out of borrowing power. Guess what they do? You would have never guessed. They start printing money. And of course, that leads to more problems. Now the world's facing a debt crisis, and the debt crisis is a consequence, a natural consequence, a predictive consequence of the monetary system that we have. So we embarked 100 years ago with a central bank which Thomas Jefferson tried so desperately to prevent. So they haven't done a very good job. They took the dollar of 1913, now is worth 1 penny. So I would say it's time we celebrate next year the 100th anniversary of the Federal Reserve by repealing the Federal Reserve Act. But a lot has happened in the last 4 years. These problems have been going on for a long time. It'd be nice if we could blame one person or one administration. It's been going on a long time. So many young people here, I think you're realizing you're getting a bad rap for what you're inheriting. You'd like a much better deal, and the better deal can be found in less government and only sending people to Washington who have actually read the Constitution and really obeyed the Constitution and take their oath of office seriously. Which would do so many wonderful things for us. Take, for instance, if you're tired of the wars, I hope you're sick and tired of the wars that we're involved in. What if we had the return to the Constitution? The founders made sure in the document, in the Constitution, that the wars would only occur not by the executive branch, but only by the people through their representatives in Congress. That's the way all wars should be declared. If necessary, they should be declared, won, and given over with, and come home. That's the way it was supposed to be done.
That's the way countries do when they're serious about winning wars.
But since World War II, we have gone to war without a declaration, and for that reason, we essentially have not won one of those wars that has added a lot of tragedy. Just in these past 10 years, these wars that we're fighting in the Middle East, over 8,500 Americans have died, 44,000 have come back with serious injuries and amputations and all kinds of problems, hundreds of thousands looking for help because of post-traumatic stress syndrome. At the same time, economically, it's been very damaging. It has added $4 trillion to our national debt. That is what you're inheriting. This is the reason why it is so important. If you're talking about peace and prosperity, you have to change the Constitution and have a lot less war and make a lot more sincere effort to promote the cause of peace. But this has been going on for a long time, and both administrations have been doing this. And this is the reason that the message of liberty actually brings people together. Because individuals see that the parties aren't doing a very good job. You like one party, they cut the spending, they raise the debt and the spending as well. Another party is supposed to do the job, they do it and nothing changes. So if you look at the candidates today, there is very little difference except for one. The rest of the candidates support the status quo. Foreign policies never change. Monetary policy doesn't change. There's no challenge to the Federal Reserve System. And most of all, there's no desire to protect personal liberty, personal privacy, protect us from the intrusiveness of the federal government, to protect your right to use the internet. These are the kind of things that are so important to so many people, and unfortunately, that is not offered. I believe it is the offering up of a program that emphasizes personal liberty, the Constitution, sound monetary policy, and a sensible foreign policy is the reason the momentum is building and the reason why we're getting such a great reception here in North Dakota.
I absolutely agree, and I absolutely do not hear the other candidates for president talking about these things. Only Ron Paul. Think about that. Item from CNBC.com. Stocks closed sharply lower Tuesday, with the Dow posting its first triple-digit decline in 2012, fueled by fears over a Greek default and amid economic growth concerns. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 203.66 points, or 1.57%, to close at 12,759.15, logging its biggest decline since November 23rd. My friends, the economy is tanked. The stock market is spinning. People are losing money. Even investors are losing money. It is a house of cards that was intentionally brought down, and it's coming down. Whatever the intent, it's being achieved. Item from the Daily Caller. 6 more U.S. congressmen have demanded Attorney General Eric Holder leave his post this week in the wake of Operation Fast and Furious, bringing the number of U.S. House members pushing for a change of Justice Department leadership to 109, unquote. My friends, I support you. Anything change? Item from the dailycapitalist.com, Jeff Harding reporting. Here is data from the Mercatus Center's Veronica de Rugi on U.S. public debt. I just murdered that guy's name. Sorry. Woman's name? I don't even know. Not an encouraging scenario. Drawing on data from the Congressional Budget Office's long-term alternative budget scenario and historical estimates, Veronica de Rugi, we'll say that, calculates 50 years of changes in debt held to the public and economic growth. Each year in the bar represents a year. I won't bore you with that. For the first time in U.S. history, the annual growth rate of debt is projected to remain above the growth of the economy for more than a decade. The longest periods of growth in debt have above economic growth have typically come in 2 to 5 year increments. These periodic fluctuations between 2009 reflect the formal trend of the economy adjusting to changes in government, fiscal, and economic policy. My friends, here's my economic analysis. The economy stinks. What are we going to do about it? We'll be right back. I gotta do something. Can't do nothing and expect things to change.
The Passover celebration will be celebrated Friday evening, April the 6th at 6 p.m. at the Ramada Plaza, I-25 and 120th Avenue in North Glen, Colorado. Your Passover entree this year is your choice of delicious lamb or turkey. So make your Passover plans and invite your friends and family. There will be tables at 10 available, so just tell Sharon when you make your reservation. Adult tickets are $32, children 10 to 12, $15, and children 6 to 9, $13. Children under 5 are free. Call 1-800-205-6245 to make your Passover reservations now, or mail your check made payable to Beth Messiah Congregation to P.O. Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado, 80534. Market attention, Sharon. Remember, the deadline is March the 23rd, so make your reservations early and we'll see you at Passover 2012.
1360 AM, The Lion is expanding their highly revered and successful health and wellness radio programming, and you may be the talk show host we're looking for. No previous on-air experience is required. We help train with production and airing of your own radio show. This rare opportunity is being offered to the right business who is willing to purchase our low-priced airtime to grow and promote their professional business on one of KHNC's longest-running and respected shows. KHNC has a proven track record of propelling health businesses into financial abundance and greater success through our established radio programming. If you are a dynamic health educator, have the gift of gab, are confident you can self-host, and you're a storefront business or service known for being ethical, professional, and caring, email your information and request an interview and pricing now at 1360 AM advertising@hotmail.com. This is your opportunity of a lifetime. That's 1360 AM advertising at hotmail.com. 1360 AM advertising at hotmail.com.
And welcome back to Real Truth. My friend, here's a few minutes of a video about President Obama and Executive Order 13575, Rural Councils. Let's give a listen.
You'll find that they've also asked for the right to imprison
Ronald Reagan speaking.
as prescribed by the federal government. The Secretary of Agriculture asked for the right to seize farms through condemnation and resell them to other individuals. And contained in that same program was a provision that would have allowed the federal government to remove 2 million farmers from the soil. If you live in the heartland of America, you have to listen up. While the nation was distracted with the Anthony Weiner drama, President Obama signed an executive order that will seize greater power over food, fiber, and energy in our vast countryside areas. The president created the White House Rural Council to, quote, make sure we're working across government to strengthen rural communities and promote economic growth. Sounds great, but get this. The council involves a long list of the most powerful people in America. Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner, the Defense Secretary is on it, Attorney General Eric Holder, even the head of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano. Why would Homeland Security be involved in exerting power and influence over the heartland? Why would the Defense Department be involved in promoting economic growth? The plan calls for the federal government to control almost every aspect of rural America. It will also, quote, identify and facilitate economic opportunities associated with energy development, outdoor recreation, and other conservation-related activities. Really? When did hunting and fishing become associated with conservation-related activities? Of the rural this is about agenda control.
It's all about government control. Whenever the government gets involved in anything, it's like cancer metastasizing. It's spreading, it's controlling, it's taking over. Government doesn't come to help us. Get rid of that old wives' tale. You know the story, hi, I'm here from the government, I'm here to help. Forget it. If that was ever true, it certainly is no longer true. Item from netrightdaily.com. A hypothetical single mother of 2 lives in Virginia and brings home $20,000 a year after the government takes out Social Security and other state and federal deductions. However, because of her low income, she's able to collect Earned Income Tax Credit, EITC, food stamps, Medicaid chip, S-chip, and Section 8 housing. In another scenario, a recent college graduate is fortunate enough to find a job and makes her salaries starting at $39,900. Who makes more money, the single mother or the recent college graduate? Well, if you guess the single mom, you're right. With her income, less taxes, plus subsidies, she brings home just about $40,000, according to economist Clifford Thies. When applying Thies' research that the relationship of earned income and after-tax income plus subsidies is basically flat from $0 to $40,000, it paints a grim picture for today's working class. During the fourth quarter of 2011, median weekly earnings for full-time wage and salary workers in the U.S. was $764, and yearly salary equal to $39,728. This means those who make this median amount or less essentially have less spending power than those who make a much lower salary and live off the government's pyramid welfare programs, unquote. So we have arrived at the welfare state. And now, just as in many instances crime now pays, now laziness pays. Lovely. Item from the SayAnythingBlog.com. The author, Rob Port, writes the following. I'm a bit of a movie buff myself. My wife and I go to the theater about as often as our family budget allows. Like pretty much everyone else, I'm not exactly fond of the expensive popcorn and soda, so I empathize with this man in Michigan who's upset with his movie theater's prices for snacks. Unlike him, though, I recognize that I don't have a right to other people's stuff. Just as Sandra Fluke doesn't have a right to have other people pay for her contraception, this guy doesn't have a right to demand that the movie theater provide him with snacks at the price he wants. If he doesn't like the price offered, he's free to take his business elsewhere. If enough people find the price unacceptable, the movie theater will have no choice but to lower the price. But this attitude of entitlement is far too common in our society. Everybody seems to think they have a right to things at the expense of others. The national political war over contraception is just a symptom of a larger, deep-seated, longer-term problem, unquote. My friends, it's absolutely true. You know, I was raised to believe that you got what you worked for, not what you could finagle out of other people. Well, we've become a nation largely of finaglers. Why work for something if you can get con someone into giving it to you for free? That's one of the one of the battles our nation is fighting right now. Item from One News Now. The Rutherford Institute is defending 3 California students and the right to wear American flag apparel at school since they were banned from doing so in 2010. The Live Oak High School students were confronted on Cinco de Mayo by a school official who told them they could not wear American flag apparel on the Mexican holiday. Other students, however, were allowed to wear clothing with Mexican flag colors and symbols. The school's population is about 40% Hispanic. John Whitehead of the Rutherford Institute details more about the case. A federal judge ruled that this was protected First Amendment speech, that the school, if they had any belief that disruption might occur, that they could stop his expression, he explains. We've now appealed that decision to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. If the lower court decision stands, the attorney warns school officials will be allowed to censor any form of speech they like. I think one thing we really want to show kids today is that they do have a right to speak. They have a right to vent and talk about things, Whitehead said. We can't be taking free speech and sticking a plug in it and destroying it, and that's what these kinds of cases are doing. No matter who wins the appeal, Whitehead believes this case could make it to the U.S. Supreme Court. Unquote. Let's move on. Item, my friends, from the TeaPartyTribune.com. It's starting to happen. Troops are beginning to refuse to follow unlawful orders, such as taking away weapons from U.S. citizens or orders to kill Americans. Excerpted from the complete article below. Stein's new trouble started over a recent discussion on his personal page in which he said he wouldn't follow orders from the president. The discussion centered on the investigation and possible charges of troops accidentally burning copies of the Quran. My friends, here's the bottom line. Troops are sworn to defend the Constitution, not the Commander-in-Chief. We'll be back.
Matthias Passover celebration will be celebrated Friday evening.
Not an easy decision to make,
at 6 p.m.
but I believe it's the right decision.
On I-25 and 120th Avenue in North Glen, Colorado. Your Passover entree this year is your choice of delicious lamb or turkey. So make your Passover plans and invite your friends and family. There will be tables of 10 available for sharing when you make your reservation. Adult tickets are
we've only got 4 minutes left of the show, folks.
$15 and children 6 to 9, $13. Children under 5 are free. Call 1-800-205-6245 to make your Passover reservations now, or mail your check made payable to Beth Messiah Congregation to P.O. Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. Market attention, Sharon. Remember, the deadline is March the 23rd, so make your reservations early and we'll see you at Passover 2012. Have you been dreaming of new kitchen cabinets? Maybe you want to replace or repair your current ones but think it's too expensive. Are you on a budget but know you need to maximize and organize the storage space in your home, basement, or workplace? What about you gun enthusiasts who would like a customized display cabinet? Or those emergency preppers who want a hidden storage unit designed for that unique space? Whether you want quality custom design cabinets, specialty woodwork, or budget repairs, Custom Cabinet Shop can help you with whatever you need. High-end or low-end, remodel, reface, or replace. This family-owned and operated business since 1980 will help you design just about any project. Call 303-340-1390. That's 303-340-1390. Find us on Facebook for your free quote and single on-site visit. Service area is limited.
Alright, let's close this show out. Folks, welcome back to Real Truth. We've got 4 minutes left. Let's use them wisely. Item, stop the Islamization of the world. This came through my email. I'll read it to you the way it came. Islamist militant cleric Abu Bakr Bashir blamed the United States for increasing his jail term 2 days after Indonesia's top court reinstated his 15-year sentence for terrorism. Bashir is regarded as the spiritual leader of militant Islam in Indonesia. The the world's most populous Muslim country, and is an outspoken supporter of Al-Qaeda-style jihad, but he's always denied being a terrorist. Appearing in public to undergo his second cataract surgery at an eye hospital in Jakarta, the 73-year-old defiantly called on his followers to fight the U.S., quote, until it is destroyed. America is the enemy of Islam, so the verdict must be America's order, he told reporters, as he was escorted by into a police vehicle by armed military and anti-terror police. We must continue to fight America until it is destroyed, unquote. And so, my friends, if you are out there and you think that Israel is somehow dragging America into this war on terror, you are so mistaken it's hard to be believed. The terrorists hate you and me and all of us here in America, with or without Israel. So don't believe that old canard that they're coming after us only because of Israel and the so-called Palestinians. The Palestinians are Nazis. Forget them. The Israelis are just trying to survive. It is the Islamists, the jihadists, the Muslims who hate us because, why? Right. Because we're not Muslims. Item from ZeroHedge.com. Another student protest, another mass arrest. Monday, thousands of students from all over California snarled traffic during their march on the Capitol in Sacramento. Hundreds of students then flooded the rotunda of the Capitol, a somewhat raucous affair. Eventually, the California Highway Patrol cleared them out, and 70 were carted off and thrown in the Huskow for trespassing and resisting arrest. Their problem? Tuition increases. Already, tuition in California state schools has tripled over the past decade, and state budget cuts will induce universities to jack up tuition again. But the state is out of money, and so it's struggling in a weird and ineffectual way with red ink. For California's the same day that students were arrested, the New York Fed released a report on the consequences of incessant tuition increases across the nation, ballooning student loan balances that are increasingly difficult to bear. 27% of the borrowers who had to make payments, not current students, were past due. $870 billion in student loan balances at the end of the third quarter of 2011. Up 2.1% from the second quarter, while other consumer debt declined or remained flat. My friends, I'm not going to continue reading this to you. Let's put a real fine point on it, okay? Let's say the numbers are scaring the crap out of us, which I hope they are. It is up to us to use one of these things. A telephone. You can reach any of your legislators, you can reach the newspapers. Everybody is reachable by cell phone, by telephone. Get on the phone and scream, my friends. The more you scream, the more you'll be counted. The less easy it will be for them to make you invisible. You will exist. You'll be a one-man or woman riot squad. You can raise all kinds of hell, get your message across, and when the day is done, you sit together on the couch and enjoy your life. My name's HOWARDRIELL. I'll be back in 23 days. 23 days. I'm out of it. 23 hours with more real truth. Until then, hasta luego. Bye-bye. I am out of it. It's the result of sleep deprivation, working 2 jobs and 70 hours a week. I'm going to take a rest. I'll see you, my friends. Bye-bye.